Normally, we are joined by a reporter from the Maine-Monitor each Monday to learn more about their big story of the week. However, today we asked Rose Lundy to join us for a special visit to talk about her reporting on the actions of ICE in Maine this week, which has been, quite frankly, the big story for all of us. So thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
You have covered a number of detainments just this week, so we want to touch on some of those. First one that I think got a lot of people's attention, a mother detained by ICE after just dropping off her children at school. You spoke to this woman's daughter. What did you learn from that exchange with her about this?
Yeah, her daughter told me that her mom had dropped her other daughter off at Portland High School, and when she was driving back, she noticed that somebody was following her, and so she called her 20-year-old daughter, who was at home in the apartment, and watched from the window up above as her mom pulled into their parking lot, and some agents followed her in and asked her to get out of the car, and they took her away. They ended the phone call with the daughter. But the daughter told me that her mom is from the Democratic Republic of the Congo. She's been here for 10 years. They have a pending asylum application, and her mom has no criminal record. So they still haven't heard any justification for why she was taken in by agents.
And that seems to be a common thread, I think, this week that we've seen from so many cases of just a lack of answers and so many questions that people have to understand what's happening. Another situation, you spoke with witnesses in this case of someone who say they saw a crowbar being used to get into a vehicle to get access to someone who agents then took away. And then, as we heard from Sheriff Joyce this week in Cumberland County, another case of a vehicle was left right where it was. When these people were picked up. What have you found out about that individual?
Yeah, so in that case, on Pearl Street in Portland, agents cut off the car of a man who is a civil engineer. He's employed here in Portland with a consultant agency. He's been there for 2.5 years. He has a graduate degree from UMaine. His colleagues told me that he has a work visa to be here. He's from Colombia originally. Agents pulled him over, and witnesses told me that they almost immediately were using a crowbar to try to get into the car window, and then within a minute they had smashed the window and they pulled him out of the car. They took him with them and left his car running with the smashed window. His belongings were sitting in the car seat, and his phone was discarded on the road behind his car.
And another case where all information that we have at this point, someone here legally.
Yes, yeah, and no criminal record. I think it's relevant in both cases because a big part of the message from ICE has been they're going after the worst of the worst criminals, and in at least these two cases we know that it was two people without criminal records.
No documentation there. And I want to touch a little bit on the efforts to, as journalists, cover these incidents happening. In this last case, you had specifically mentioned with us that you spoke with witnesses, and that's a big part of documenting what's happening right now.
Absolutely. Part of the big challenge is these incidents are really quick. I mean, the one on Pearl Street, the witness told me it was all done within 2 minutes. And so by the time, as a journalist, you hear about it, it might be over with. So relying on people sending in tips and witness accounts that we can then go out and try to verify ourselves. Of course, we don't rely on just anything.
Information out there.
Right? Yeah, but it's kind of, it takes that kind of crowdsourcing effort to try to respond as quickly as we can and to know about what all is happening.
A huge part of the journalism part of this also here at News Center Maine is, to your point, taking those tips and then we work to verify it. But the tips give us a place to start. But they are happening very quickly. So those tips make a difference in documenting it. Rose, thank you for the work you're doing. And thanks for coming in to chat a little bit more about your experiences with it.
Thank you for having me.
By the way, you can read Rose's work along with all the other reporting right now online at the-maine-monitor.org.